welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today, and in this edition we will review some reports from Egypt and the African continent. And Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Egyptian Expatriates Affairs Badr Abdelati continued his visit to the United States, where he takes part in the United Nations General Assembly's high-level week. Details in this report.
And Migration Badr Abdelati called on the UN General Assembly and global heavyweights to stop the Israeli aggression on Lebanon and settle the crisis peacefully. He stressed the need to refrain from military solutions, which he said will lead to more bloodshed and expose civilian lives to dangers. He called for evading a whole-out regional war that would have repercussions on all parties. Abdelati was speaking at a consultative meeting with Arab foreign ministers on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly Convention in New York. In an earlier meeting, along with his Lebanese counterpart on the sidelines of the 79th high-level session of the UN General Assembly in New York, Abdelati denounced in a joint statement the Israeli occupation aggression on Lebanon's territories and called for respecting its sovereignty and security. They both discussed the serious developments in the Middle East, especially the Israeli occupation's continued aggression on Lebanese lands and on the Gaza Strip. Abdelati also held talks with Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas. Abdelati reiterated Egypt's support for the Palestinian Authority and the Palestinian legitimate right in establishing their independent state. Separately, the top diplomat expressed Egypt's appreciation for the UN Commission for Refugees over its support for the government's efforts for providing protection to refugees. Abdelati made these remarks in a meeting with the UN Refugees Top Commissioner, where he shed light on the disastrous humanitarian conditions in the Gaza Strip and reiterated Egypt's rejection of any attempts to liquidate the Palestinian cause.
And now we are joined over the phone by His Excellency Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Great. So, sir, Africa is taking center stage at the UN General Assembly meetings. How do you see the weight of African files at the UN?
Africa is a very weak continent. It is the poorest continent all over the world. Yes. It is the second in size, 1,200 million inhabitants. But it's amazing situation. I told our friends, the Europeans and the Americans, that the flow of money out of Africa going to America and Europe and other developed countries is much more than what Africa is receiving as a sort of investment or the result of their exports. Yes. We cannot continue like that. You cannot drain a poor country, countries like that, and this cannot continue. So Egypt initiated a proposal during the Sharm el-Sheikh conference in order to encourage investors from donors countries to come to invest in Africa on the African soil with the Egyptian experience, which is cheaper and much more efficient. And we have positive reaction from China, from European Union and from Japan, but not much on the ground. So we have to continue this process in order to put Africa in a better situation. And our diplomacy really in this concern is very active, and we are doing our best. Badr Abdelati is doing his best in New York, and he's advocating the African case. And I hope this will bring us some results on the ground.
So, sir, the UN General Assembly adopted a pact for the future to meet the challenges of the 21st century. How do you see the importance of the pact?
It is very good encouragement, but, you know, it is obligatory. But at least there is a common understanding among the countries, members of the United Nations, about the situation, describing it, and asking for solutions. But I do not fail to cover the other side of the story. we as African, we have a lot of homework must be done. Still Africa is suffering from bureaucracy, heavy bureaucracy. Banking system needs much more to be ameliorated. Transports also, and many things we have to deal with before we ask our investors to come and invest in our countries. So we have to do this and that. Encouragement for the donors, and we encourage ourselves to be much better, to be able and to deserve for an investor to come and invest in our countries.
So, sir, the Assembly's big annual meeting gets into full gear Tuesday. What files do you expect to feature high on Tuesday's meetings?
I expect that they make two things: to consult, to exchange experience, to give advices, and then to give some sort of declaration asking to what to do. And these three things are a must in the process. And I hope that they succeed to do it. And frankly, I don't see any reason why not we succeed in proceeding for this result, to have consultation among the participants, to give advices, and to declare some declaration to guide us what to do in the coming years.
So, sir, also, how do you weigh the importance of the meetings gave to digital transformation, and why?
This is a very good jump, because we always work on the traditional systems.
Yes.
And the traditional trade and investment. Why not to jump and to proceed with a new sort of investment and new sort of technology? Because this will put us in the level which deserve recently good investors to come and invest in our country, if we furnish him with all the possibilities in order to use our systems, which should match the international way of systems that we use in business.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, former Assistant Foreign Minister. And back to our reports from the African continents, and we go to Senegal, where at least 30 bodies were found on a boat drifted off the coast of Senegal's capital. The military said on Monday as the number of migrants leaving West Africa increases. A Senegalese military spokesman said the Navy was informed of the vessel's presence on Sunday evening and sent out a boat patrol to the area, 70 kilometers or 38 nautical miles from Dakar. More in the coming report.
The Senegalese military said on Monday at least 30 decomposing bodies were found in a boat drifting around 70 kilometers off the coast of Senegal's capital, Dakar. A statement that the Navy was informed of the boat's presence on Sunday evening and the patrol boat was immediately deployed to the area. It said that so far 30 bodies have been counted, adding that investigations would provide more precise information on the death toll and the boat's origin. The corpse's advanced state of decomposition made the identification process difficult. The Atlantic migration route from the coast of West Africa to the Canary Islands, typically used by African migrants trying to reach Spain, is one of the world's deadliest. An unprecedented nearly 5,000 migrants died at sea in the first 5 months of 2024, trying to reach the Spanish archipelago, migration rights groups Walking Borders said in June.
And we go to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where nearly 30,000 suspected Mpox cases have been reported in Africa so far this year, most of them in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where tests have run out. The statement was made by the World Health Organization on Monday. More in the coming report.
More than 800 people died of suspected Mpox across the continent. The statement was made by the UN health body in its report. Congo's Central African neighbor Burundi has also been hit by a growing outbreak. Mpox can spread through close contact. Usually mild, it is fatal in rare cases. It typically causes flu-like symptoms and pus-filled lesions on the body. The WHO statement did not give comparative figures from previous years. The African Union's Public Health Agency has said 14,957 cases and 739 deaths were reported from 7 affected states in 2023. This is a 78.5% increase in new cases from 2022. There are 29,342 suspected cases and 812 deaths across Africa from January to September 15th this year. A total of 2,082 confirmed cases were reported across the world in August alone, the highest since November 2022. On Saturday, the World Bank's Pandemic Fund said it would give $128.89 million to 10 African countries to help fight the outbreak.
And by that, dear viewers, we come to the end of today's edition of Africa Today. Thank you for watching.